I like them all.
Mikal Bridges is, wow, he's older than I thought.
What is he, 29?
He's 28 right now.
28. Still young.
No, he's 27 at the moment. Turns 28 August 30th. So his birthday's coming up soon. This next year he's only making 23.3.
Ooh, less than Wiggy.
The next season after that,
hitting Wiggy with it.
He's making 24.9. So, $23 million next season, 24.9 a year after. Then he becomes an unrestricted free agent. He's probably going to command a lot of money. Right now, he's on a 4-year, $90 million deal. Now, I don't know what Brooklyn's going to do. And this, again, we're playing hypotheticals and we're wishing upon a star. I'm playing the game with you guys. I'm wishing. My wish list, number one, would be to get Mikal Bridges. We know he could defend at a high level.
But is he the number 2 option in a half court? And I'm not trying to poke holes in it. I'm here for the Mikal Bridges acquisition.
He's a low-end number 2, right? He's a playmaker.
Would you still want a Lauri Markkanen?
Well, I would just look at the Brooklyn Nets. And now we have it on, they're not going to get rid of their big. Who is it? Nico Collins. They're not going to get rid of him. They're going to sign him back. Nicholas Claxton. But Lauri Markkanen, I mean, number one, you're going to have to trade a lot to get Mikal Bridges. So you may not have assets to flip that for Lauri Markkanen.
So, okay, you add Mikal Bridges to this team, and you said who's on the way out the door?
Well, obviously Clay, then you're going to have to trade multiple assets, right? You're going to have to trade probably Wiggins and Kuminga.
So now,
and picks.
Gosh.
I mean, this is
Does that make you better?
This is not, I don't know. I don't. And no, it doesn't.
And that's why
Mikal Bridges, ideally on a championship team, Mikal Bridges is a number 3 on a championship team.
I think we agree. And that's where I come back to, like, I know it's, look, you're flying off the side of the hill here, okay? You're 3 wheels up in the air, speeding at the wall. But like 34-year-old Paul George, I know it's not great. But it's not also the worst idea in the world. And if you can have him or get him, acquire him, and still maintain, let's say, hypothetically in this scenario, Wiggins, now I have the Wiggins chip that I can move in with some other package for something else, right? Whereas acquiring someone like Mikal Bridges probably exhausts a lot of your assets. You only have so many.
So now that Paul George's name is getting floated out there, Warrior fans, you want Paul George? Is Paul George attainable? That's why I can't wait to talk to Anthony Slater to discuss all this. Because it's one thing for us to be saying it, but what's realistic? Is it realistic that the Warriors can get Paul George? Well, and number 2, Paul George, did that do it for you, Warrior fans? Does that do it for you?
Let's say it's not Paul George.
Does that quench your thirst?
I think it's a start. Brandon Ingram, does that do it for anyone? And I think there's like obviously levels and stuff, and he's a lot younger. Does Brandon Ingram do it for you?
He did at one point. It's a start. He's younger.
Okay.
But does he play the style of basketball? He's more of an ISO player.
Yeah. Again, I think we're just going to have to come to grips with whether someone is floating Zach LaVine, Paul George, Brandon Ingram. All of these guys come with restrictor plates. Some don't play defense. Some don't play the style of basketball that they like. Paul George ticks a lot of the boxes, but the tough part is he's old. He does get hurt. Like, it's not perfect, but given some of the other options that are out there, I think cost is a part of this too, cost analysis. Again, I'm reluctant to say it's a great move and they're back in contention, but given all of these other things,
Is it possible that the Warriors can end up in the same exact spot in this hypothetical? They get Paul George.
Absolutely.
And they get rid of Wiggins and Kuminga. But if they kept Wiggins and Kuminga, wouldn't they be in the same spot?
They can't keep Wiggins, though. You have to try something different.
Well, you have to try something different, but
you can't go 3 years in a row with an inconsistent guy.
Is Paul George making that much better as opposed to having Wiggins and Kuminga on his roster? Because now you still got 2 defenders at the point of attack. If you do get a Paul George, I don't believe the Clippers are just accepting Chris Paul in that $30 million buy. I don't think they're doing that.
You're going to throw in stuff.
They're going to have to throw in a lot, right?
GP2, Moody, draft picks. I don't know. Like,
well, you got to have to play. You got to have some players.
That's GP2, Moody, whatever.
Are those players? They're not taking GP2 who's been hurt.
Monte, again, The Clippers don't hold all the cards in this
They
situation.
don't, but they
all
can
right?
definitely say-
This is not Mikal Bridges where he's under contract.
They can play
This is where
hardball.
Paul George has a little bit of autonomy in the situation. Same way that OKC surrendered 7 first-round picks or got 7 first-round picks when they moved Paul George.
Well, then the Clippers would just say, hey, just walk. Just walk.
Yeah,
What?
but then they're
going to set
because of their
GP2?
Because of their cap
I
situation.
know. I hear the cap situation.
They lose the slot.
No, they lose the slot. I get it. I understand
So
all
they
that.
either get
I
an
understand
asset
all that.
back,
No, I understand
or they
that.
lose out
but
completely.
they're not just going to accept any asset. And other teams are going to make the call. You don't think the Clippers will say, all right, if it's, I'm just throwing a team, OKC and he's not going back to OKC. We get it. But why wouldn't the Clippers get on the phone and say, hey, the Warriors are offering us GP2, Chris Paul, and picks?
When Kevin Durant chose to go to the Nets, the Warriors couldn't just turn around and say, wait a minute, Boston's going to offer you this. KD was going to the Nets. It's either you swing with us and we swing a deal or you're getting left out.
KD was ticked off at Brooklyn for involving a pick and giving him that player. He was ticked about that.
This is how signing trades works. The same
I
thing with
understand
Jimmy
how signing
Butler. When
trades
Jimmy
work.
Butler chose to go to the Miami Heat, he did the exact same thing. He's like, I'm going to the Heat. Either you're going to play ball or you're getting nothing.
All right, so Paul George is an unrestricted free agent. Do the Warriors have the finances to sign him as an unrestricted free agent?
No.
Exactly.
But the Clippers would lose the slot completely and lose the assets that they could get back. At least if they got back, hypothetically, Chris Paul, GP2, draft picks, Moody, they get something that they can either retain, keep themselves, execute the draft picks, or flip for future stuff.
Yeah, I don't see that happening. I don't see it happening. I just don't think the Clippers are going to give Paul George away, even if they don't have all the power in this situation, and just agreeing to a signing trade with the Golden State Warriors. A team they're going to have to play 4 times a year, that they're battling for market share, battling for ratings in this state of California, and a team they're going to have to leapfrog in the West. I just don't see it happening. I don't see it. I don't see it. The Clippers maybe just be like, you know what, we'll rather lose the slot than acquiring a CP3 and maybe he walks and then you get GP2. I just don't see it. I'm having a hard time envisioning that. Which is why I don't know why.
Which is why the Clippers cap situation. No, they don't have a lot of options.
I understand their cap situation.
They're right where the Warriors are.
I understand their cap situation, big time. But they have a better roster right now, though.
Yeah,
a lot better.
Well, I mean, both teams, have some pluses and minuses. They're both old and injured.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Paul George is going to be 35.
I don't love it, but given my options, I'd rather have Paul George than Wiggins all day. And I probably would I'd probably rather have Paul George than Klay Thompson. As much as it's difficult to say that out loud, I think most Warrior fans, if they were removing emotion, they would probably agree with that.
I'm sorry, man.
Alongside Steph.
I'm trying to play the hypothetical here. The Lauri Markkanen ends, and I know we do this during this time of season, but like the Paul George situation is so unrealistic to me.
Then what is realistic?
That's not realistic.
Then what is?
What is realistic? Klay Thompson walking.
Yeah.
All right, Andrew. And what's realistic is this team may struggle next season because they don't have a lot of wiggle room.
Yeah.
And all these players that we're throwing out in these trades, hell, is somebody going to want Moses Moody, Steve Kerr to play Moody?
Well,
I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, Andrew Wiggins, who I was told all season long, get him off my team, get off my team. Now he's one of your better perimeter defenders. You may be better off just keeping his ass.
No, there's no way in hell they're keeping him.
We don't know that. We don't know that.
I'm ready to invest heavily on the Andrew Wiggins is out the door.
And then what are you getting for Andrew Wiggins if he's out the door?
I don't know. That's a bigger question.
What are you going to get for him? Where's his value at?
So they should just pack up and not do anything.
I don't think they should pack up and not do anything, but maybe doing nothing or maybe doing minimal movements. Maybe you're building for the season after next season because you don't have a wiggle room. Now, I don't see that from Joe Lacob. I don't see that happening from Joe Lacob and company, that they're just going to tank and punt the season or whatnot. But how much wiggle room do you have? And how many assets do you have to go get a big boy? So I think we're overrating our assets. That's just my opinion on it. That's my opinion on it. I'm hearing Markkanen. Well, Utah Jazz is going to want a king's ransom for Lauri Markkanen. Are you willing to pay a king's ransom for Lauri Markkanen?
I think he's an upgrade for this team, and I think he does something that they desperately need, especially if Klay Thompson walks, which is shooting.
That's fair.
I do believe that they need shooting and spacing, and at the minimum, he gives you length, okay?
Right.
And they
fair.
need length. I don't think he's a good defender by any stretch of the means, but if you're going to play Draymond Green heavy minutes, you need a shooter, another big shooter opposite him. Now, I don't believe Markkanen and Dre are going to go 4-5 all year or anything like that, but there's going to be overlapping stretches, and you have to have a stretch guy alongside Draymond offensively to make it work and make it hum long term. I do believe also they're going to play TJD alongside Draymond Green for long stretches, and so that's even more imperative of why I need somebody who can shoot.
40% from three last year for Markkanen, played 55 games a year before that. Wow, this is interesting. I didn't know this. Lauri Markkanen has only played, he's never played more than 68 games in the season.
Yeah, they shut him down a year ago, and I believe also again this year.
68 games his rookie year, 52 second year, 50 his third year, 51 his fourth year, 61 his fifth year, 66 his sixth year, last year 55 games. It's a lot of games missed. A lot of games missed. Some due to injury, some due to him just being shut down. It's a lot of games missed. That's just
all these deals are going to have guys who have warts.
I mean,
it bothers me.
I don't. The perfect trade doesn't exist.
I'm not looking for the perfect trade, but I'm just saying when you trade assets, major assets for players like this, boy, I don't know about Lauri Markkanen. Jason in L.A. Jason.